Hello everyone. This video is not sponsored or promoted by Google. It is Tejas back here with another electronics video. Today I have another electronic component appliance thing to install, and it is the new Nest Learning Thermostat. So in addition to showing you all how to install this into your own home, I'll also delve into what the advantages are, but I'll get to that later. No wait, I'll get to that now. So first things first, a thermostat controls what temperature your house tends to stay at. I say tends to stay because sometimes it just doesn't go to the set temperature. We've all been there. But essentially it is something to control heating and cooling, and control the overall temperature of your house. Now Google, obviously, takes it a step further. They connect the thermostat to one of the biggest smart home families on the planet. Ever since Google's acquisition of Nest, they acquired Nest back in 2015, and they have constantly been building the family of Nest products. There are a lot of products available right now, but today we'll be focusing on the Learning Thermostat, third generation, for those of you who are wondering. But what makes this better than regular thermostats? The biggest and most prominent feature, and what really distinguishes this from regular thermostats, is the learning part. It basically uses other electronics to find out when you left the house, how much energy you're saving, and programs a schedule to fit around your day. Leaving home, it turns the temperature down to save energy and enters the eco mode, short for economically friendly or something. Coming back home, control the thermostat from your phone and heat up the house so that it's nice and cozy when you get back. There are so many features to this new thermostat, so let's jump into the unboxing and installation. So here it is. I have completely unboxed the thermostat. Included is obviously the thermostat, the wire guide, mounting plate, trim plate, installation screws, electrical box screws, and even a nifty multi-bit screwdriver to help you out. So as I presented before, there are multiple mounts and things that come inside the box. However, the first thing you should do when working on house wiring or big appliances is to open the respective breaker so you avoid electrocution. In tandem with safety, I'm also wearing some non-conductive rubber gloves, which basically means I won't be electrocuted. The next thing to do is to remove your old thermostat. For me, it opens up by pulling off the plastic cover. I am removing the thermostat from the wall for a very specific reason, which I will get to. Make sure to use the correct bit when taking off the mounting screws, otherwise the screws will be ruined and it will be impossible to remove the thermostat. For mine and many old manual thermostats, the wires will be secured with screw terminals, which look like what you're seeing on screen. Before removing them, mark them with the provided stickers in the Nest Thermostat box, or you can take a quick picture of them so you remember where they are connected and the connection labels. Grab hold of the wires that you're removing and make sure they don't fall back into the wall. If they do, you might need a sledgehammer. Only kidding, please call an electrician to see if they can pull it out, and don't destroy your walls. Now, even though there is no power, we still want to separate the wires so that they don't touch. It is also useful to separate the wires and kind of spread them out like this hand that you're seeing, just to prevent them from going back into the wall. I will also attach wire caps on them to fully ensure that they don't touch each other. Now you will see that there is no paint behind my old thermostat, and this is where the trim plate comes into the picture. It can basically cover the space that your old thermostat used to cover if the paint has chipped or come off in the past. Amazing! For me, I'll be using my trim plate, but if you're not using it, then it's completely fine. All the steps ahead will work just fine without it. First, put the wire guide on and mark where the holes will go. If you're using the trim plate, just put it behind the wire guide, like you're seeing on screen. Make sure the level on the wire guide is, level, before you mark your holes. Now, since my thermostat had the wires on the side of it, I'll end up having to squish the wires to come through the center instead. If you have this issue, do not worry. The solid copper wire inside can and will withstand the pressure that you apply to it. Next, I'll have to drill some pilot holes. Make sure not to go too far in and use the correct bit based on the long screws. If you end up going too far into the wall like I did here, don't worry, it doesn't hinder the strength of the mount because we will be using wall anchors. Now we will install the wall anchors. These provide a perfect hole for the mounting screws, so we don't need to make one ourselves. Amazing! To install these, I'll be using a mallet, but you can also use a hammer or the butt end of a screwdriver or anything solid and flat. Now this will make a little bit of noise, and by a little bit, I mean a lot. So if you are sensitive to hearing, maybe put on some earmuffs. Next, line up the hole marks with the trim plate and place the wire guide on top. Again, if you're not using a trim plate, you can just align the wire guide with the wires and the hole marks that you marked before. Pull the wires through the central hole of the wire guide and place everything flat on the wall. It should look like what you're seeing on screen. You should also be able to see your wall anchors so that you can place the screws directly through. And again, make sure not to let go of the wires. You can either use the screwdriver, or what I prefer, a good old-fashioned drill. Use the super long screws to fasten the wire guide to the wall through the trim plate and tighten equally. Again, if you don't have a trim plate, just use the super long screws to fasten the wire guide to the wall. Now, if your level is a little bit off, it's probably because the screws pushed the parts out of place when you tighten them. This happened in my case, so simply loosen the screws above and below and adjust the wire guide so that the level is, level. When it is balanced, you can tighten the screws while holding the wire guide in place so that the screws tighten the wire guide while it is level. The problem is, now the wires just look like a huge jumble, and I don't know where they go. Well, this is where the picture I took earlier comes in. If you put the wire labels, you can also use those. For pictures, check where each color of the wire was connected to, and then read the label on the picture to where the wire was connected to. You can then put each wire into wherever it needs to go. First, I'll remove the wire caps. Then, take the wire, push the button down on the correct terminal on the wire guide, insert the solid copper wire, and then release the button. Now remember, the button will not come up. It will not kind of come up to where all the other buttons are. So don't worry about that. That is exactly how they're supposed to be used. And if all goes well, the wire is now secure. Now here, as you can see, I hit a big, small, medium-sized snag. I needed to push the excess wire back in because there was just too much hanging out. So sadly, I ended up having to loosen the wire guide and pushing all the excess wire back in. It was not pleasant. Once all the wires are in, you can take your new Nest Thermostat and plug it in right side up so that the plug is at the direct bottom. And once attached, you can turn the power back on with your circuit breaker and witness your new thermostat come to life. You can then follow the instructions shown on the thermostat. The entire ring is a scroll wheel and the whole surface is a push button. I like to click it at the bottom though, because that's where I feel the most tactile sensitivity. It will ask you things like what type of heating or cooling system you're using. It will detect which systems and which wires are connected, and all of that. And you can just keep following the instructions, putting in the correct options, and once it shows you the QR code or entry key, you're ready to go with your phone or tablet. Firstly, make sure your phone or tablet is connected to the Wi-Fi network that you want your thermostat to be connected to. For example, I want my thermostat to connect to the 2.4 GHz band of my Wi-Fi, so I connect to the 2.4 GHz on my phone or tablet. Head into the Nest app, click on the Settings app and tap Add Product. If this is the first device you're adding and you just installed the Nest app, the add product will be, it'll just be right there in your face. Once you click add product, the Nest app will open up your camera to scan the QR code, but I wanted to use the entry key, so I clicked continue without scanning at the bottom to use the entry key instead of the QR code. Now select the Nest Thermostat. I am setting up a Nest Learning Thermostat, but you can choose whatever thermostat that you're setting up. Now on the thermostat screen, you need to select the entry key option, and then type in that entry key on your phone or tablet. Then when it's looking for devices, go to your thermostat and click on serial number, or scroll it and then click on the serial number, and see if it matches the number shown on your phone or tablet while it is searching. The app will do its thing after you select the correct serial number, and if it gives some error message like it sometimes did for me, just keep trying again. If you get the same error message, disconnect the thermostat from the phone and restart the setup. There should be an option to say reset device. Now after a few tries, the app should finish up properly and you'll be able to continue. A little tapping here, a little dragging there, and a little celebration way over there, and you're finally done. The thermostat will be successfully installed. It might ask you to test your heating or cooling system, which you can, I did. And after that, you can control it with your phone, other Nest devices, and stay warm. Or cool, depending on what time of the year it is. So from here, you can control your temperature by using the arrow buttons at the bottom or sliding the bigger tab on the ring. The smaller tab shows what the current temperature is. You can also change from heating to cooling, turn on eco mode, turn on the fan, see your temperature schedule made by the thermostat. The schedule shows what temperatures your thermostat will change to based on the temperatures you've set in the past. For example, if you set your thermostat to 65 degrees when you go to bed for 2 to 3 days straight, the thermostat will automatically start setting the temperature to 65 degrees at that time every day. The energy table shows how much time the system spent heating or cooling. It can also give you insight into saving energy and for what reason, such as the weather on that day or some kind of user adjustment. Well, we finally made it to the end. If you made it this far, great job! Leave a like. And consider subscribing. I hope this video was a fun experience. It certainly was for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.